I have
Yeah,
I have
the
only one
feeler
thing
is
on my
just
to-do
a
list that doesn't affect anybody else, so you can describe the city, and then when it gets to be my turn.
Okay. One thing that I do want to
two
say,
things.
since you guys, again, have not been to a major city, how cities will work is basically, if you guys spend any amount of in-game time to go quote-unquote shopping, unless you are looking for something very specific, or unless you have something else to do at the blank shop, then we can just do that between sessions. You know, if you say, you know, I really want to get, let's say, hypothetically speaking, 30 barrels of pitch in a cart,
Yeah,
then you just, we can figure out how you do that and how much money between sessions. We
You
don't
forgot
really
about
need
the
to do it.
flour.
And flour, whatever you're going to get. If you're going to get something that's generally understood
Well,
as
we
would
know
not be
what
difficult to get, which is includes common magical items. If you guys look on the character builder and that sort of stuff, it'll show the rarity of the items. Common magical items are stuff that you can easily purchase from
any major city.
From any major city, from a major shop. Although you guys have something else to do at the major shop, which involves the naming crystal, so it's not going to be
Strictly shopping.
a strictly shopping thing. So the strictly shopping part we can do, say we go to the major shop, we do this other stuff. You don't have to tell me at that time, oh, I want this, that, and the other thing, unless it's very specific and brought up in game.
Basically, I can say, hey Gary, here's my list of rituals that I want to buy. This is how much money we're spending.
Right. Assuming you guys had nothing else to do at the magic shop, but you do, so there'll be a little bit of
Right.
different stuff. So as you guys approach the city, it's going to be late afternoon. Do you have something else you wanted to bring up?
No, I'm going to try very hard because this is the part that I have to play blank. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
For the people listening to the podcast, this campaign setting has been run. This is actually the 7th or 8th iteration of this campaign being run by different people, and Hazel has actually run through the campaign setting before. But since there's no direct plot and they sort of figure out what to do, some of the characters will be things that they already know. Some of the different miscellaneous things that the characters will get revealed, she already knows, but he will act as if she does not know what's going on.
Yes.
So as you guys approach the city, it's starting to get a little bit darker. It's not as late as you guys got to Catchrace. And the city, even from a distance...
I do have a question, just because I never quite got this clarified. Garros are the general horses of the world, or so are the people around us using actual horses?
Yes, actual horses.
Okay, so Garros are normally reserved for wealthy, or is that just in
People who bathe
Osrin, or
regularly.
is that pretty much in all the major cities? Is that kind of a recognized thing? Because...
Can I get a streetwise check from somebody?
18 plus
A lot.
14, I think.
I want to make sure because that
32.
Yes, 32 streetwise will definitely get you to know that Garros are generally seen as a status symbol. It's not beyond a wealthy merchant to have a Garros, although a lot of merchants would probably consider it a frivolous thing to have. But they are things that tend to be, you know, they're very popular among nobles in all three of the major cities on the continent. They're very popular among nobles, and they tend to be gifted to people in military for specific deeds. So if it's an officer, for example, a lot of times if they do something and get enough influence, they will be gifted one of the city's Garros as a status symbol, because they are actually very good mounts to use. Just because of the way that they are very nimble. They aren't the raw force weapon of a warhorse, but they can bend and move and jump and be much more agile on the battlefield in order to position themselves than a warhorse would be able to do.
Okay. Huey does make it a point when they are, you know, kind of traveling, you know, especially when they got further away from Catchrace then, because you never know where bandits and things might be. She would have been, you know, warning people to kind of keep watch because we will be targeted as wealthy.
You know, we should just advertise for that thing.
But
I bet just laughing at
We
the
should.
targeted part.
yeah, I'd rather, you know.
So, on the
So it's
podcast, we could do miscellaneous things like saying one of the things that's indicative to our group. And one of those would be Archer Farms, tasty food, tasty price. They're the generic Target brand tube O random corn, popcorn. And the sweet and spicy, which is the caramel corn clusters with cayenne pepper, are basically like cocaine to this group.
Yes. This is true.
So
We seriously just did a product placement.
product placement just happened because these things are delicious to the point that someone else out there should know about this. That stuffed away in a random Target aisle is deliciousness and cayenne pepper. So,
I was gonna say, as well
If
as
anyone's
apparently-
made it this far into the
I was gonna
podcast.
say,
yeah.
I was gonna say, as well as wasabi almonds from Walgreens.
Right.
Those
As a note,
staples.
this will probably be the second podcast. I'm going to cut it up. So,
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Do we have to do intros again?
No.
Okay.
Just coffee.
Because, hi, Sean. Much more sober
No.
than I was. Shut up. Go.
Okay, so
So-
Knine.
This has been a field
so the
day.
city of Knine, as you guys approach it, the road.
Is that one open?
Just pop it.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, is it
The,
open?
Go ahead. Your aim is shit,
She
dude.
broke my couch.
It was already broken.
Not
so
on that side.
the road leading into Knine gets much wider as you guys get closer and closer to the city, and then it heads down to the coast and is following very close to the coast.
Potato sacks.
From a good distance away, probably close to a mile, you can see the docks. The piers to the south of the city are massive. There are two very long and wide piers that would be able to hold a number of ships the size of the Wind Fist, which was, as you guys remember, the large fist that was near the lighthouse.
Large ship, you mean.
Ship, not fish. Yes.
Ship, fish, I'm sure there was that too.
You can see, as you guys are approaching, there's a lot of little fishing vessels that are coming and docking south of it in little piers to the south of the main harbor. As you guys come into the city, you can see even from the distance the way that the tiered city works. It is built basically where a river delta would be. However, the Ganwa River, which goes from the center of the Highlar down this way, used to go through here and then end in a very steep and dramatic set of waterfalls. That has been changed over the years, and anyone living on the continent who didn't grow up in a box
Hi.
would know that
I'm still a baby. Don't make fun of me.
the tiered city basically
You're a
functions like this.
terrifying baby.
You have an arc like this, which is going to be the docks around the entire city. And then you have a kind of a wedge shape that is going to be the different tiers. So the bottom tier, actually, let's see if I can.
Yeah, draw it. 'Cause I'm
If
not
I was
sure I'm
smarter, I would have gotten the
It
map
looks like,
of Knine out of this.
Katrina. The White City, Lord.
getting Minister.
We all know what that looks like.
Yeah, it has something in common
I'm sorry,
with
I can't remember these words.
Minister.
Ministerial.
It looks kind of like that, doesn't it?
What's a falcon?
It does look roughly like Ministerius on some levels. However,
Millennium Falcon.
Except, there's not that big wedge of rock out there that the one guy's going to throw himself off of on
Fire.
fire.
Catching the reference.
right. Find this. Have a map for the city.
Is that what
If I cannot find it
Minister
very quickly,
means?
I will switch tabs.
Millennium Falcon.
Oh,
In the Star Wars universe, why is
You guys have
everybody's
for the-
first question?
the window?
What's a falcon?
Yeah.
there's the picture.
Right.
Yeah.
What it looks like.
Window.
Window.
Sparky.
Oh yeah.
Sparky.
We've seen.
Who we've once again left behind, but then he knew it was coming. So.
Yep.
Well, and time's different for
He
him.
wasn't with us. He was just there.
I'd hang out with him if he wanted to hang out.
Alright, I'm not going to be able to find it, so yes, I will draw it in the middle here. Here's...
Just as a heads up, in probably about 25 to 30 minutes, Jared has to leave for work. So
And you need to drive in to work?
we're going to need to drive into work. Yes.
Okay.
So we can
So-
stop and do food or do something. So at that point.
We're trying not to, but if you guys have to go for a break, there's nothing
Might
to
as
do with
well.
it.
Yeah,
I
good
Um,
then.
have to take. We can-
yeah, it's fine.
Totally cool.
Dude, that
This
is
is going to
awesome.
be a bad drawing.
Our foundation
But-
works.
Yeah, they're usually shit programs, though, dude.
The Windows App Store is crap stick.
Fuck you.
There's one
Yeah,
good app that I
fucking
have,
app
but I
fucking-
can't use it anymore. It doesn't work for any of the higher Windows systems.
So here is roughly what the city looks like, as my very fast drawing will show.
Whee! Fast. Gary Speeds art.
Feet art for me is terrible.
A single straight line in the whole thing.
So
Well, it's shaped like a circle.
here is roughly what it looks like. There is South Harbor down here. There's North Harbor up here.
And this is perched basically on the top,
Yes, this is
on the northwest corner of the continent.
correct.
Okay.
This is in the very top northwest corner of the continent. Up here, there is a large lake. And then these are, each one of these lines is a tier. And basically there is a stone wall. Again, the example of Gondor, or sorry, of Minas Tirith is really not that bad. Each one of these tiers is a stone wall that is about, depending on which tier and which place, ranges between being about 5 feet tall over here close to where you guys are, to in the middle of the city, they can be upwards of 35 to 40 feet tall. There is one portion of the city that is a little bit different, which is this portion right here on either side of this larger blue line. This is the Ganmar River. It has one piece that goes off to the side that you guys will be crossing over. There's a bridge down here near South Harbor.
Oh, so all those three are river?
Yeah, this is a river, and this is a river. So this is all river. This section should have been blue. Whatever. This section here is called the drag. It is fairly wide. It's the locks. So in between each one of the tiers, there is a wall built, and then they release the locks as you would, like the Panama Canal, something of that nature, and lower or raise the water level using water from the lake to get the larger river ships that are coming from the Ganwa to be able to go into the ocean or vice versa. The section on the side, either side of the main part of the Ganwa River, is called the drag because the ground has been cleared away on either side. There isn't anything that's very close to it building-wise, and there are wide tracks where people, generally speaking, Talikma, are holding on to large sets of ropes and pulling the ships into the different sets of locks as they go down the set of locks. Each section of the city has these very wide roofs. Something you guys will notice, as you guys, especially with the evening light, is the tops of all of the buildings look to shine in the distance. You can see that the top of basically every building that you can see is covered with
something very reflective.
a little bit reflective. They look like to be glazed clay roofing tiles that overlapping that have different little pictures on them, and seem to be each in solid colors. You see certain roofs are solid green and different shades of green. Certain roofs have like a yellowish hue to them. Certain roofs don't have any color in them. They're just that plain kind of grayish, or not gray, brown color of clay, but they have a huge amount of glaze on them, so they give off a lot of the evening light.
Does it get very hot here?
Huh?
Does it get very hot here up north?
It's on the edge of the jungle, so yeah, it's still hot here. As you guys kind of head into the city, you can see that the shorter arm, or the smaller arm of the Ganwa, is still looks like what it used to look like. It's a very small tiered waterfall leading down to the end, and there's a bridge down to the very bottom near South Harbor where there looks to be the only obvious entrance to the city that isn't taking the lake from this side, where there is a guard post. There are several guards walking along with their halberds, and now that you're close to the city, you can see not all of the tabards are the same. Some of them have different letters on them. Some of them have crests. You can see a lot of the ones that are walking with a specific tabard tend to group up together. So you see 2 or 3 of them with the W's on their chest, standing guard right next to the entrance to the guardhouse. And the bridge itself is a wide stone bridge. It looks like it could take probably 3 or 4 caravans across, and it's covered in a very fine mist as the waterfall, or the water from the waterfall, kind of comes across the bridge. So that is what you see as you enter in. Approaching, are you guys heading up towards the bridge or towards the guardhouse?
Guardhouse?
Guardhouse, because we need to ask directions.
Okay. Heading up towards the guardhouse, as soon as you get a little bit closer, you can see that there are several people that are lined up outside the guardhouse, and different people doing different miscellaneous things, getting things, papers, and that sort of stuff.
We need to find an inn, and we need to find a magistrate.
Hi, right.
And a guide.
How's you getting on?
Okay. One of the guards kind of looks at it and goes, "Oh,
Some type of
Newcomers, well, welcome to the city. Is this your first time in Knine?
Aye.
He goes, welcome. Excellent. I don't have to look anything up. Now, he goes and says, I need new entry papers. Yells back to the people behind him.
Hey.
And you see some people come forward with a little stack of papers.
Papers?
Just to enter the city.
You don't need no stinking papers. We've got money.
My name's Mr. Smith.
He goes, all right. What was the enemy
Gold dollar.
One of the
coin?
Durham pieces.
Durham pieces?
No,
Huh?
not the block, but I mean.
My name's Mr.
All
Smith.
money in the
Yes.
world is actually Durham.
Durham?
We
Yeah.
use gold to keep track of stuff because it would
Right.
make the building the characters annoying.
Yeah, well, no,
Yes.
but we were talking about like when
Right, no,
Durham
you don't give him a
No.
Durham
Right,
block.
you're right. You're a
Would you like
Durham.
5,000 gold?
My name is Mr. Smith, and my name is Mr. Retired.
Greetings, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith, and
And
Mr.
Mrs.
Smith.
Smith? Okay.
He takes it and kind of goes, oh, well,
Thank you.
welcome to the
Take a
city,
lunch.
Mr. Smith. He kind of pulls something out of his pocket and waves it over to the papers. And you see that there was actually a minor enchantment on the papers that has been altered slightly. He goes, and come with me. And he kind of motions you guys to go off to one side. And there are tables and stuff sitting outside. He says, just fill out what you want. And remember to think about your name very clearly as you write your stuff on. He looks around and says, I do have to inform you that there will be no discharging of weaponry inside of the city, and no casting of spells that could be confused with being weaponized
I don't think
without
cameras
permission.
discharge.
He means don't hit people with it.
Oh, well.
Can I ask you
No.
to define
With the disembodied voice in your head
just
explains.
weaponization of spells?
I'm just curious.
That could be confused
Just as a
weapon.
question. If-
Summon my trees since we're still outside.
Okay.
Since I'm not trying to. I'm like, my tree isn't really.
He goes,
a
oh,
weapon, but
no,
it's kind of a weapon."
don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that I'm going to inhibit you in any way, but there's a standing law in the city that should you draw your weapons, or should you use any form of magic above magician level, that means that you will need to go to one of the guard stations to be peace-bound and to explain why you used your weaponry. This is just a simple precaution. It keeps the crime rate in the city very low.
So, if there was someone that, for whatever reason, a goodness in my heart in our interaction, they interpreted me, and were to try to punch me in the face, and my brother Chunk here were to jog his memory with one of those hammers, then
Well, I can't help
Wow,
it. People
that's
just walk
escalation.
into a hammer.
then
The protocol is we return to the guard post and speak with you.
Any one of the guard posts within the city, yes. Just explain the situation. Again, this is mostly precaution. I understand if you're new to the city, it might seem odd, but it does keep everything very civil inside of the city.
I'm sure.
Very few people want to go and explain their actions, and I will make sure you know, Mr. Smith, that if you are found in the city without peace-bonded weapons, if you do not have a fairly good excuse of why you have not reported to one of the guardhouses, there will be a fine.
What is this peace bond?
He goes, oh, it is a simple cantrip. It will put a enchantment on your spell to keep weapons in their sheaths and to create an aura around casters that should they use anything above magician level, it will be torn. For the purposes of understanding exactly what he's talking about, magician level for casters is basically attack powers. So you can still use your utilities freely in the city, and any powers granted by feats, but you cannot use, your normal attack powers.
If it will have to say attack power. It will say attack power on the
Right.
card.
It does damage.
Well, no.
Well, I mean,
It
not
will say attack
well-
power on the card.
yeah.
Is
So
what
you're
I'm asking. Okay.
it
you're
affects him more than it affects me.
Right.
your encounter
I can't-
1, your encounter 3. Even if your level 3 encounter does not actually have an attack roll and doesn't actually I think your
Phantom Foes.
Phantom Foes.
There's no attack
There's
roll.
no
it's
attack roll,
just-
that still will count. That's still
Yeah.
enough power to break through the barrier.
Hostile.
Basically, anything that's in your encounter slots or your daily slots, that counts. Anything that's in your utility slots, that does not count. So, that's what he's going to say to you, and as he's sitting there talking, he kind of pushes the paper towards you. So remember, write your names very clearly, Mr. Smith, on the papers, and I will call over the magician to get your bonds.
Do people know your name in this city?
I'm Jack Smith.
Of course.
Hi.
You're
Were you
Chunk
to go by
Smith.
any other name? Would they know that name?
No, I ain't never been here before.
Why would he go by any other names?
So it gives you each.
I feel as though you're doubting me, brother.
Gives you each a pen, and then kind
I
of
want to know where you've been.
looks over towards his toy, and is like, I'm not sure.
It's a
I'm
marionette.
not sure what the protocol for you is.
It's a marionette.
It's my
A
toy.
puppet show.
It's a pet.
Magical constructs, a minor artifact. It should fall under the same rules, as a.
It's a utility. It carries the weapons forward.
I'm going to count it as part of a sprite. And you don't need to sign for your toy.
Yes.
It's a pony.
Your toys don't need to be
It's a
entered
pony.
into record.
Okay.
So as you guys write it, he
Toy
calls over
won't
to one of
dance
the
with
machines.
anybody. Don't worry.
Okay.
I like this kid made even better.
He was sitting there staring at this paper trying to figure
So
out.
a magician comes over, and you see the guy explain that he needs to be peacebound. He walks over, and he first goes to you and says, "Master Sprite, if I am may be allowed to peacebind your apprentice."
It is a lesson.
If I may have a quick word with my apprentice.
Go ahead, do that. And he will head to you.
Is he going to peace by my tree?
He's going to be on you,
Okay.
Which affects the tree.
which will affect your commanding of the tree.
Okay.
So
I
bind
wonder if
goes to
someone-
you, Jack.
You know,
Bind goes to you and kind of looks. He goes and says, "I'll be
I
back."
don't think you can peace bind these.
He goes back and
Challenge accepted.
and says, "There's no peace binding for physicality. It's a waste of time. But we will have to get a covering for your weapon, if that is all right with you."
A cover.
Yes.
Why?
The
Because it's a dirty girl.
They don't want you to kill people.
They won't die by seeing it.
No. That's not the case. If you had, for instance, and he motions over toward, this is the magician speaking, he motions towards the guardsman and says, if you had, for instance, a longsword in a sheath, we would peace bind the sword and the sheath together. Your hammer doesn't have a sheath.
No, it hangs.
Right. If we could just get a simple piece of cloth to cover it, and that would be,
Or-
the cloth would be piece bound to it. It will not harm your hammer in any way, and
Of course not. It's cloth. I don't care what the game says. Paper does not beat rock. Rock is fine.
Huey reaches into her bag and pulls out one of the gaudy bright shirts. She's like, "We could cover it with this if you want."
he kind of takes it, looks at you, looks at her.
What? Come on, say something.
I
Let's
am
hear
going to
it.
say something. I'm going to say draw a card.
I was gonna say
Whoa.
that story that I'm
Have a
gonna tell.
fluorescent
It does involve some very
yellow,
colorful
blue,
clothes.
paisley shirt that's
All right.
all over your hair.
Here's your card draw. Again, you can pick up whatever card you want. For those listening in the podcast, I have something called Player
Favorite
Reward.
enemy. I mean, favorite enemy.
Give me just 1 second. I have something called Player Reward cards. I will put a link to them in the podcast. Basically, they are one-time use cards. Each player may have one of them, and anytime something that happens in-game is
Alright.
interesting enough, if they're playing their characters well, and we all stop the game, start laughing, like what just happened with Junkus, then I will award the player a card, or at least a draw. They may either choose to keep the card to use as their own, or they may gift it to another player at the table. In the rare occasions that the card is completely useless, they can make the case to get another draw.
No, it's useful, but
What's it?
it sounds familiar. Favorite enemy. Trigger is you make a knowledge check against a creature. The effect is you're considered to have rolled a 20 for that check. If possible, you have also either faced this particular creature before, or heard expensive stories from those who have.
Yeah, I
We've
think
had
we
these
have had
cards.
this card.
We-
Yeah,
have this.
I've had that card before, and I've
Yeah.
played it before.
It sounds very familiar.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
Are you sure that's not the stack of crap we've already gone through? Because
Yes.
we've blown through a lot
I
of
know
cards.
several of these are new. Let me double check. There is one card that I know you guys have not encountered yet.
And if it's in that stack, then we're good.
'Cause, I mean, I do know we blew through a lot of cards.
You guys have gone through lots of cards, but yes, this is still the stack of...
Relatively unused cards.
I feel like Favorite Enemy was a card that was drawn and not used. It was replaced by another card. The same thing with
What,
the
so
Golden Winged Stork was also drawn and not used, so it was put back into the deck.
Okay.
Yeah, I drew it and I had it, and then I was sad that I gave it up the next time we got in a fight.
All or nothing. Trigger, you roll a
This sounds
d20 and dislike the result. Effect, flip a coin. On heads, treat it as if you had rolled a 20. On tails, treat it as if it had been a 1.
Ooh,
This is an awesome card.
that's an awesome card.
This would be a jack card.
Yeah, that
that is a.
What do you have?
You or an ally gains an aura that deals 5 fire damage to each
Oh,
creature
yeah.
within 1 square for the next 1d6.
I like how
have-
everybody's all yes,
Yeah.
I'm
is.
disappointed.
Do you have a
It's like, oh, we
you have a
forgot
card
you
right
had that.
No.
Go ahead and
Go ahead and
hang on
keep
to
it.
Yeah, no, I'll keep it. I was just
Yeah.
thinking if we should trade, but no.
Well, I mean, like, I'm
You
not-
can't trade.
I guess
And
You
it
can
wouldn't.
gift
It
it.
would not be as good for you because you are aligned with Albion, and his card specifically functions better for people who are aligned with
Right.
Vegas. All right, so he peace binds the weapon on, and he sort of looks over at the toy, and
Toy has a rather large sword, doesn't he?
Toy has an axe.
toy
Axe.
has an executioner's axe, and binds the axe to the toy.
Where the fuck did Toy get that?
Basically, if you
Toy's
draw,
axe.
if toy pulls it
That's
off the
what
back,
toys. That's
Toy
what
flips
toy
over.
hits things with.
yeah.
Wow.
So it goes back towards
That's
the
sexy. Terrifying and
Apprentice.
arousing.
Yes, I would like to have written
Toy's also the
documentation
size
of
of a young
the rules and
There are
procedures.
Well, it's a good
stipulations.
thing that I'm not that kind of a
The
girl.
T's and C's.
He goes, oh, of course. He goes and rummages around a little bit underneath the table that you guys have set out. It's got a couple drawers underneath it. Pulls out from one of the drawers and goes and opens a thing. It says, this is standard fare for majors in the city. And he pulled out a little contract. The contract is written in someone's hand that is obviously must have either just learned how to write or wrote like 7,000 of these, because it's legible, kind of. But it
It's
does
almost like Dr.
explain...
Script.
Huh?
Almost like Dr. Script.
Yeah, it's like Dr. Script.
Right.
It does explain kind of how the...
Iris pulls out little magnifying glasses.
Okay, and then he
Fine.
binds,
Combs it.
binds Iris. The magician steps away and the guard comes back and says, okay, so welcome to Knine. I do apologize for the formalities. If there's anything... And he kind of like takes his hand down and he rubs that little Durham chip that you gave him.
Mhm.
He goes, if there's anything that I can do to help you with your stay in the city, I can suggest a couple of nice places. He looks around and says, we have very fine magic shops here in Knine, and there are gardens in the nobles' quarters. There's a couple nice inns that I know of to stay in that if you mention my name, you might be able to get a discount on price.
We need an inn where they can fit me brother. And we need a magic shop up to the specifications of Sunrod.
He goes,
Those are
"Oh,
two
there,
things we will need.
there is a... Yes.
I wonder if you've met my friend. We'll just call him Danny.
he takes the chip and puts it in his pocket.
This is not Jefferson.
He says that there are many excellent inns in the city. What are you specifically looking for? Are you looking for a place that is quiet? Are you looking for a place that is good food, warm beds? Looking for a large inn so you can all stay in one place? What exactly are you
Large
looking
inn,
looking
good
for-
food, big beds.
We have 3 very simple specifications. Do you need to have a good garden, a room big enough where Chunk actually fits in the bed? Because if my brother has to sleep on the floor, I take personal insult to that. And pretty girls.
He goes, then
Fourth thing, she's like a place where we can talk to people about what's going on in the city.
then it's an easy thing. Near the drag, you'll find a place called the Pristine Silver Chimes. Around here, it's just known as the Chimes. It is the largest inn in the city, and it should be very difficult to miss. He looks over, goes over his shoulder, and points over to the tiers. Says, if you look, there's the top tier, and again, you can see there's actually a little fortress that's built up here. It's more like a palisade with a little bit of guards on it. It's not anything impressive. It says, if you go down from the fortress, 2 tiers, near the edge of the drag, ask anyone nearby where the Chimes is, and you will find it very easily.
Can you even miss it?
You could technically walk through the patio and not know that's where it was. That's what it was.
Okay, because when you described it,
And he
Is
says,
there any significance to the colors of the tiles on the roofs?
he goes, oh, well, of course. Each of the different colors and designs denotes the allegiance to one of the houses of the city.
Oh, okay.
He goes, speaking of which, if you go to the chimes and speak to someone there, tell them that the House Codenavala sends you their way, and they should be able to give you a discount on price. So you notice that he's wearing a lot of the other guys that are going around. The magician, for example, was wearing a stylized W on his chest, and the guard here has it looks kind of like a shovel, and then it has down around the bases a couple like symbols of different gods, right around the base that are very small, written in.
Shovel.
Is Vectel represented in any of those?
No.
Shovel.
You see signs of Niosis
good
and
with a shovel.
Masana.
Aye, but I mean,
And it's handy because after you smack them, you can bury.
And the
He
magic
said,
shop.
there's
the
this funny
magic
thing
shop.
about
There are a couple of magic shops in the city, but I'm afraid normally we're used to magicians.
means you can
there.
skip that second part.
However,
That's just all I'm saying.
There is down by the wharfs. There is a magic shop that I've not been to, but I've heard good things. It is actually a sprite-owned magic shop, and he would have hopefully anything you would need.
What is
Can I
what's
go?
the sprite's name?
I don't remember.
I don't think
The
your
shop
people
is
would check
Jadu,
on it to you.
but I don't remember the sprite's name. That is his last name. I don't actually know the name of the shop.
And it looked down on
You know that the word
the ones that you
Jadu
that use yourself for
is the
magic
sprite word for shop.
before dying.
I could
So
talk to
the
him
shop's name is Shop.
It is
It-
probably
it's-
a
That is
joke
very
on the
sprite.
humans
No.
because the humans aren't going to know
No,
this.
I mean it makes sense. Like, I need to name my building. Well,
His-
I
if-
sell
if-
things.
He says
But
if,
he also just said the guy's last name is Shaw.
if you need any more information, I can go and look at the records to see what the owner of the shop's name is.
If you would.
Okay. He turns around and goes
There
and
was a bookstore in your
gets the magician
bookshop.
to go and ask
It
him
was
for the
English.
name. And as soon as the
I mean, anyone,
magician gets
I mean,
the
English is very
goes,
common,
"Oh,
but still, it was called
the sprite shop on the wharf, Kitakon shop. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. The owner's name is Kitakon Jadu, and you know that that phrase means the magic shop. So
Well, that seems obvious.
Yes, we will visit this Kitakanja.
Maybe he's got some of the same problems you've got.
So
Probably
you needed,
whoops.
No.
information can easily be found at the chimes, and you needed a magic shop. Is there anything else that I can be able to direct you for?
Jack likes brothels.
you know, she should just have a stack of cards. Fuck, that was beautiful.
He just went,
I was about to go there.
That's like a fucking.
I was about to go there and enter toy.
oh my god.
That was it.
But still,
Well done.
Yeah.
all right. So again, another card draw.
Merciless beating.
Wow.
No.
Did you stack the deck just for us?
Possibly.
If I did, I would have allowed Jack to draw all or nothing.
Yeah.
Make a melee or range basic attack against an enemy. If you hit, you may repeat this attack against the same enemy with a cumulative -2 penalty until you miss, or the target is reduced to 0 hit points.
Damn.
So you just keep beating him.
-2, -4,
There you go. You can have this one back.
-6. Yeah, I don't even care what the other one did.
I don't even know what it was. It just goes back.
It was the control weather card.
Oh, yeah, fuck that.
What, you don't want to
I
be
can
Thor?
hit something until it dies? Yes, please.
Yeah,
Don't you already do that?
Can I
Yeah.
get
But more.
Can I get like 10 of those? It's
All right.
like possible.
So yeah, he kind of goes. There are some houses of that nature down by the wharves. Yes.
Ladies of negotiable,
Thank you, Amulet.
negotiable
You're
affection.
welcome. Just trying to help.
Very nicely done.
So he kind of.
They say in the city everything is for sale, but that ain't true. See, because the beer and the women is for rent.
Yeah. Well.
Well, no, you
Depending on the
eventually give the
city.
beer back.
And depending
So-
on the woman.
He says, unless there's anything else you need from me, welcome to the city of Knine. And he kind of walks you over towards the Great Bridge.
Off to the chimes.
A-W-E-I. I was spelling my tree's name for her.
As you guys walk in, you can see very obviously that there is little pipes that are coming from the city that are emptying into the water here. That would be fairly obvious to recognize as drainage pipes. So
From the houses.
from the houses or from the city of some sort.
Send all the water back into the walks.
That and there's definitely things that aren't water that are coming out of those pipes and being drained into the river. But you can see that as soon as they leave the pipes, there is a little pulse of magic, and the water is being continuously purified as it's leaving the sewer systems.
See, look at this. Proper plumbing. That's.
I think Osrin could learn a thing or two.
I agree. I'm seeing it tainted hard.
So I don't care. Where are you guys heading first?
We gotta get to the inn. We don't want to go to the inn first and get established?
Remember, it's evening. It's not
getting late.
dark yet, but it's
Right.
evening.
I was going to say, if we hit the magic shop first, we can then go to the inn to get established. I doubt that whoever this Kidu-Khan is going to have an answer for us right away.
Well, the problem is we don't all just stomp into the magic shop.
Yeah, that's
And
where
it's-
Big
Out of-
Myers goes. And
Out
they
of
get-
character, other sprites don't like Amulet.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
so
I
if-
was.
If other sprites find out that Sean is associated with Amulet, then we're going to have problems. Or
Right.
Vin is associated with Amulet, then we're going to have
Hey, a
problems.
nail.
So we need Vin, Iris, and probably Jack so that I can assist if need be. Because
What with
Vin is
negotiation?
classically so good at diplomacy, although in this
With
particular
other
case
sprites?
we're dealing with a sprite, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Look, he hit that issue right
It
on
did,
the head.
it did good against the crazy soul.
That's true. That's true.
Good deal
So-
there.
So, how about you lot head to the inn to get established, and then we'll split the party with Vin, myself, and Iris heading to the magic shoppy.
For those of you listening at home, the words "split the party" were just uttered. Carry on.
Yes, good job.
For those of you sitting at the table, the words "split the party" were just uttered.
What
So-
the fuck?
Choose what you guys are doing, but I don't want to stall and
Okay.
Right.
let's
Okay.
keep moving.
That's what makes the most sense for the party to be doing,
Yep.
based on the fact that we don't expect.
Like, I'm not
that-
saying that's a bit of a joke of never split the party, but I'm asking if you guys want to do that, then go ahead.
Yep.
Does that work?
So who
Yeah.
is going to the chimes?
Amulet.
Amulet, Chunkus, and Hebe.
Oh
Yes.
god.
So Vin, Iris, and Jack are heading to Magic Shop.
But they're the ones who like me.
I was going to say, you will note that the one person in the party that does not get along with Amulet is stuck with Amulet.
And we're about to talk to an innkeeper to find out more about the city, and the face is not there.
Exactly.
I think the
is my
face
splitting
should come with us, to be honest.
I think the face needs to be in both places. Is the problem?
Yeah.
Right, but the face doesn't need to help with the
Actually,
sprite.
let's just all head to the inn.
All right.
We will figure out how to
In and then ye old magic shoppy after that. All right.
Alright,
figure
and then
out
we don't
what to
split the
do
party.
about Amulet with the other sprite.
I can do nothing for you. I can do nothing for you to bring you into the game.
Chill.
Alright,
Oh, no.
Relax.
We're trying. We're moving on it.
Baby, go relax.
next time, don't die. Now,
He makes a point.
You know, none of the live characters have any problems.
You know, I know you're like a crazy awesome
Hang on,
kung
hang
fu
on.
master, but I will punch you in the kidney.
I got two.
so the gods saw fit to grace him with despair. Now, moving on.
This is a good place to stop. That's my shout.
Alright, yeah, we'll go ahead and stop as you guys head to the chimes.